So the big question is this: how do small businesses like yours, who feel like you're doing all the right things and going to all the right events, reach the federal buyer in a way that helps you win more contracts? That is the question, and this is the place to get your answers. My name is Neil McDonnell. Welcome to the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. Okay, let's get started. In today's video, I want to quickly go through a Ptac website and show you how I would approach it if I'm going to the Ptac for the first time and I'm trying to get the most out of them, both from the information that they provide on the website, maybe some content, blogs or something, and then also how would I take advantage of what they're offering. The Ptacs offer free or low-cost services, and a lot of the initial services are free. This is especially helpful to people who are trying to figure out how to get into the government space, in particular federal government space, or if you're in a new area and you're trying to find out, what are the agencies in my backyard? How do I begin to learn about them and do my homework? Well, the Ptacs can help. And so today I'm going to use the Colorado Ptac as an example. I have a small business that had reached out and said they're opening a new office in Colorado and they really want to have a presence there to begin to grow the federal government space, as well as this is a community where they live in, and so they want to be able to grow that community through their own success in federal government contracting. Anyway, so I'm going to walk you through what advice I would give to that person, and you can use it in any particular state. So if you were going to look for your website, you would start here. If you're going to look for a Ptac, just go to DLA. Ironically, you can find this information on our website. You can find it on ATPAC or APTAC, whatever it's called, the organization. But really, this is the authoritative source, right? DLA is the one who institutes the Procurement Technical Assistance Program and provides them a significant portion of their funds. And so anyways, you can come in here and you can just search for them in DLA's website. It's small business PTAP, all locations, but just type in DLA Ptacs and you'll find this. So I just chose Colorado, like I said, because that's the example. Here's the Colorado's homepage, and I'm going to walk through it fairly quickly with you to show you what I look for. There's certain things I just ignore right away, right? I don't care that the governor signed a Ptac bill. I'm kind of being selfish. I want to know, how can you help me, Ptac? This is interesting information, but I don't really care. But I do care about getting started with Ptac. And so right here in the middle, you see that, and I would click on that for sure. And I'm going to right click on it and I'll open it up in a minute. Why government procurement is good if you're kind of new to it. But if you already know you're interested in government procurement and you just don't know where to start, or you've got a lot of questions, or you're looking for somebody to just be that sounding board as you go along, you don't really need this section. You just want to get to it. Here's another section where they have an event calendar, and just for the fun of it, right up here on the top menu, there's a calendar, which is a different thing. And so I'm going to show you those too. But you want to make sure you're looking at them both, because they may or may not have different information and you want to track on it. Okay, I'm scrolling down. I don't really see anything else. I mean, this is good for you to read if you're in Colorado, but I don't need to show it to you on this particular event. So then I'm going to come up here to their menu system. The home, I've got About Us. This is really helpful, right? We've got somebody, and let's just call him Jim, is moving to Colorado and he's looking for how do I get engaged? Well, one of the first ways is to figure out who the staff is, right? To learn who some of these people are. I would actually reach out to Jonathan and tell him, get a 30-minute phone call and say, hey, we're coming into the area. We really want to develop our federal government contracting practice. We've done well somewhere else, and we want to move into this area and do well here as well. I think that's a little redundant, but anyways, Jonathan probably would be more than happy to talk, get you on the calendar, and now you can talk. And then Jonathan might be able to provide some insight that would be different than you'll get with a counselor, who I'll talk about in a second. Anyways, you can look down here and you can start seeing who some of these people are. I don't know Colorado at all, but you can see that Catherine's got Aurora, where Carolyn's got Fort Collins, and this pattern going down. They've got senior counselors spread across Colorado to serve different communities. And so if you came in here, or if Jim came in and signed up for a counselor meeting, he would probably be assigned the person who's in his location. And that's why I said talking with Jonathan could be helpful, because I'm sure Jonathan at his level as executive director knows a lot about what's going on in Colorado just from his own experience, and then also through staff meetings with his team. And then you come down, you can see who else is in here. I personally, if I'm coming into Colorado, I would be looking at these people in LinkedIn, especially once I start meeting with any one of them. I would try to connect with all of them on LinkedIn and just say, hey, I'm talking with Carolyn over in Fort Collins, but I just want to stay in touch, Catherine, just, so we're connected. And she's going to say, fine. Over on the right-hand side, you can see, questions about the PTAC. I'm going to come back to this in a second, but these are all kind of email addresses. And so I don't need those at the moment. Okay, so that's our staff. There was this other part that board of directors, you don't really care about it at the moment. These are the people who are kind of shaping the direction of the PTAC organization in Colorado, but they're not the day-to-day people, obviously, right? This is this person's senior VP at a bank. Her day-to-day job is, working in the bank, running the bank. And then just so you understand, you got about us, and there's an about us in that menu. And in here, you just want to take a look. They might have some interesting stuff. They talk about the history. They've been around since 2009. You can see how they're tied together with the community. And then one of the things I liked down here is just seeing their mission and vision, which is really helpful to see that they're on the same stage. Okay, so I already opened those links at the bottom. I'm going to come back to it. I already did calendar. There's partners and support. If you click on that one, it just gives you an understanding of who's funding the PTAC partially. And so you got a lot of good Colorado-based businesses who are focused on this. And this is very good because it's helpful to you to understand. Perhaps you might want to meet with one of these organizations, and the PTAC can put you in touch with them. Okay, so contact us is pretty straightforward. I'm going to come back to that, but I did like the Ptac process, and that's already up there. I already opened it. And then I'm going to come to resources. I don't care about COVID-19 articles because that's really just a point in time. But I do care about just the resources and what they have. And this is really handy, right? I would recommend before you talk to anybody at the Colorado PTAC, come through here and just look and go, okay, I got a DUNS number. Yep, I got my NAICS picked. And you'll see that this is basically a checklist they might go through. Are you registered in SAM? Yeah, we've been doing business for a while. Okay. Are you aware of the dsbs? Oh yeah. We've talked to small business specialists around the world. Okay, great. And same pattern as you go down. And then because you're moving into the Colorado area, or Jim is from some other place, this is handy to see the Colorado-based resources available to him. I highly recommend people get engaged with the Office of Economic Development. You can begin to see who's there. The Small Business Development Center, the SBDCs. I've done another video on that, but you want to get engaged. Just, hey, here I am. You want to add these people to your list. And then the rest of these are opt-in, opt-out kind of thing. So some of them don't really matter to you. And then the last part is just some of the basics. There's my favorite, the Dynamic Small Business Search, DSBS, and just some of the other tools. Some of these are outdated. They just need to update, but they'll redirect, I'm sure. This one here is an interesting one. So they're sending it to the acquisition forecast, but the PTAC counselors are much better at that, on helping you identify opportunities. So we'll come back to that. Actually, we're not going to go too far back to that because that's their job. So these last two are really good. New client or existing client, and Jim's a new client. Let's click on this, and you can see that he's going to have to register. And it looks like they have this external system, eCenter Direct, that manages any of their registration activity. But you can see right here, this roadmap, and I don't want to zoom in too much and lose the roadmap. But one of the things I like is they talk about, okay, let's get started, get your stuff in, and then you're going to select the center. Are you at Aurora, Fort Collins, et cetera? And then the PTAC wants you to provide some user details and then details about your company. They're probably going to have some sort of agreement that says, what their services are, et cetera. And then you dive into getting going. So it's a pretty quick process to get started as a new client. And they'll try to be signing you up for a meeting with a counselor at some point. And the great thing now is it's virtual. Almost everything is virtual. People are still virtual. And this is mid-February 2021. So everybody's pretty virtual, and you'll see in a second that that's where it's at. But anyways, really straightforward process here. Let me go ahead and close that. Let me go to some of these other tabs that I had open. So in here is this Ptac process. And in here, the biggest one for me that I want to tell Jim to do is to get in and get some initial counseling from a PTAC counselor here. But most importantly, turn that counselor into an advocate, what I call your informal board of advisor. Get that person to join by listening to what guidance they provide you. Now, Jim will want to come in with his specific questions. He's not coming in and saying, hey, trying to decide, should I be a veteran or woman-owned company? He's a little farther than that. He's trying to say, how can the PTAC help me as I try to take my business to the next level? And keep in mind, PTACs can do this, right? They can help you with some of that early stuff, but I really believe their power is when you're trying to go to the next level. These people have so many connections, so much knowledge, and they're just looking for businesses who are willing to follow their guidance. Anyway, so here the PTAC process is laid out. After you have the individual counseling, or I would even say before, right? If the counseling session, your first one's not going to be a couple of weeks, well, don't let that stop you from doing all the other activity. And I'll show you in a minute what those are. So here you got expert panel series, and they come in and they're talking about all these different topics. This is what I say over and over again about PTACs. They're there and they provide this information, the bulk of this information, for free. You should be finding out about it. And I just mentioned Jim's coming in, and a big thing he's really looking for is business development in the Colorado area, because he hasn't been there. So what federal agencies are around, et cetera. So this bullet that I'm highlighting is a good one. Another bullet is this teaming and subcontracting. He's not really looking for guidance on how to team, right? He's been doing it for a while. He's a little more experienced businessman. But what he is looking for is, do you have any top tier small businesses and even large prime contractors that you might be able to introduce us to as we move forward in this process? Because that's what I'd really like, is to meet some businesses in Colorado that we can see if there's a synergy in between what we offer to the government. And then the last part you see is network and industry events. Those aren't really happening, a little bit virtual, but they're really not happening like they used to. But that's fine, because the biggest thing I say you want to do, and I've said this at the beginning, is you want to find that counselor and then just make them your new best friend. Let's go ahead and look at some of these events here. So there's two calendars. You got this event calendar and this one. And the difference you can see is this one looks like it's on the registration area. So if I clicked on one over here, it's probably going to send me to that other site. I don't want to dwell too much on the functionality of their site. What I want to point out is this is February right now. I'm scrolling up here, right? And so I don't even know what date it is. It's the 19th. There you go. 19th of February, 2021. And you can see the videos that are popping out right away. That's funny. That's really, that's a very good website. It makes it easy to read. Thank you. But this one here, right? Who's who, what they do, et cetera. Whoever's giving this briefing, and I would recommend to Jim, it's like, just attend it. It doesn't matter. If you can fit it into your schedule, call it marketing, call it BD, even though what they're going to talk about is what's a KO and CO, what's a core, who are these different people who are coming to me after I won my contract. That's what they'll be talking about. But if you read more in here, you'll see probably that this event is going to be, it's funny. Could have sworn I would have saw who's hosting this event. That's funny. I think I saw it on this one. Who's who? Yeah, here it is. I don't know why the other one didn't have it, but right here, Tom Fuller is going to be the person doing this. And if I come back to the staff, I see that Tom Fuller is not only a counselor, senior counselor, but he looks like he might be a floating counselor, meaning he's covering Colorado, wherever. And I have no idea who Tom is or what he does, but he's doing a lot of these events. And so there must be something in there. And my point is for Jim to go in, listen to this. Hey, thanks for the refresher. You mind if I follow up? And it's a way, and it's funny, I'm recording this and I'm about to say, don't tell the PTACs, but it's a way for you to meet more people, right? Tom will respect that you're doing this. Thanks for the refresher. I'm going to be trying to reach out to Colorado-based cores, contracting officers, et cetera. So it's good to just see who they are, even though I've been at this for a while, and then you'll see that Tom's doing other ones. Tom will know who's showing up. And that's one of the reasons I recommend it. Obviously, you want to be looking at events, and let me come back to this one because it's a little cleaner here. Obviously, you want to go to events that fit what you're trying to do, but look at this one right here. Intro to the PTACs. And it's funny. I must be missing who's the person hosting it on this one. I know whoever's watching this video is going to sit there and say, Neil, it's right there. But right here, okay, so it's Tom again, right? It's like, I don't know who Tom is, but now you've got possibly Tom and Carolyn as people who are new advocates for Jim as he's coming into the state and building out this small business. And this is why I keep saying you want to go in and meet these people. They so much want to help you. That's why they do this job. They don't do this job because this is the highest paying gig in government contracting. They do this because they're trying to give back to the community, to the small businesses who are trying to grow within Colorado in Tom's case. And so this particular webinar Tom's doing is a great one, right? It's an intro to the PTACs, and you want to do that if you haven't done it before, but it's always good to just get a little refresher. But most importantly, just coming back and meeting with Tom. It's an hour. I don't know how long that is, but basically it's an hour. Oh, there it is, 90 minutes. So these are 90-minute slots. They're virtual. It's not like you couldn't actually be doing two things at once if you've got that capability, reviewing an RFI and then doing this. My point is get in there and attend it. This is just next week, right? I'm just picking what's coming up. I got to come back here because this one's just cleaner to read. I don't really care about that one. CMMC is a good one, but that if you haven't done it, you want to attend that. But as I look through here on some of these other ones, government marketing, it's a treasure hunt. If you truly are trying to build your business in Colorado because you just went there, and you're trying to develop relationships with the PTAC so they know who you are and they know that you're taking it serious when they give them advice, well, attend these events. This one, I'm assuming, might be repeated somewhere else, but it's good, right? Right here, RFP response. Where do I start? It's never bad to go back and get a refresher. And if it's free training, this is sometimes it amazes me what people don't do is continuous education. You get married, you don't go to marital courses. You get kids, you don't go to kid courses. You get a business, you're not really going to business course because you're busy being married, raising kids, and running a company. Not that you have to do any or all of those, but you get my point, right? There's other areas. If you're a pilot, you constantly have to go back to get training. You're constantly getting tested. Well, consider this, your training. These people are providing you continuous training, continuous professional development in their environment. Anyways, I'm just looking one last thing. Here's this government to business outreach, which is an interesting one. If I click on this guy, so this is a monthly roundtable. So instantly I see that it's basically their mixer. And I would be signing up for this thing. If you're in Colorado and you're really looking for it, it's the breakfast mixer. So I guess there's no drinks that day, but getting in there and seeing what it is. And let's see who hosts this just for the fun of it. Where did I see that one? Somebody's going to find it faster than me and say I'm taking too long. Come on. I already lost it. March 16th. Okay. March 16th. Intro, PTAC, that one, government to business. So, hey, look at this. I'm telling you right now, if I was Jim and I'm heading there, I would be getting to know this guy, Tom Fuller, because he's there. All right, so let me come back here. I don't want to spend a lot of extra time on this. You just saw how I went through a website to find out, to basically create an action item. If I was nicer to you, I would have written down my action item steps on a notepad so you could see me as I'm writing it down. But I created, 5 or 6 action steps for me immediately to get engaged, become a client, reach out to some of these people and say, hey, I'm into the area. In fact, I said, reach out to Jonathan, but as soon as you get a counselor, I would reach out to all the others saying, hey, I just been signed up with Lorna, but I wanted to introduce myself, Catherine, just let you know I'm here. I'm excited. If you're doing any courses, I'm looking forward to seeing those. No need to talk, just like to talk. And she might say something like, well, why don't you pass your capability statement to me? And if you have, and I like how I keep coming back to this, but if you don't think of these people as your informal board of advisors, your external sales team, et cetera, you don't want to take advantage of them. But if they know who you are and if they know what you sell, and somebody knocks on their door and says, you know what, Catherine, I was looking for a SharePoint company, I just couldn't find any smalls. I was going to go with a large. Whoa, wait, Jim does that, or Jim does digital twin activity or supply chain stuff. Go talk to him. In fact, I have his capability statement here. He sent it to me. So that's, you want to reach out to these people. But anyways, go find your PTAC, go create an action item list. Do it now. 15 minutes is all it'll take you to do that. And now you've got an action item list where it'll help you move forward in the maturity of your business as you're growing it. So I hope you found that helpful. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you did, so that other people could find this video. If you want to connect with me directly on LinkedIn. I love to connect with people there. And I also share content uniquely there that I don't necessarily put on the website or in YouTube. One other thing to keep in mind is that we do training webinars and we interview federal buyers and bringing these folks to you. Make sure you get on our email list. You can sign up here, govconchamber.com. Get on our email list so you get the notifications. And then finally, please consider becoming a sustaining member of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce. It costs $1 a day, and we're able to keep bringing you this great content, the webinars, the courses, the interviews, et cetera. And we'd appreciate your support. I'm Neil McDonnell, wishing you great success.